The River That Grew Silent, 2004, Oxford, England. They say a river has a voice, but what happens when that voice suddenly stops? In the autumn of 2004, on the outskirts of Oxford, something happened along the River Evenlode that left scientists, hikers and lifelong locals shaken. A river known for its constant echoing roar, caused by the narrow banks and fast-moving current, fell into a perfect, impossible silence. It began on a chilly October morning. Mist hung low over the water, weaving ghost-like patterns through the trees. A group of bird-watchers, bundled in scarves and wool hats, stood on the riverbank waiting for the usual rush of sound, the tumbling water, the crackling surface, the thrum that seemed to vibrate straight through the ground. But instead, nothing, not a whisper, not a trickle. The river moved, its surface rippling, current flowing, but it made no sound at all. At first, they thought it was the fog muffling things. But even fog couldn't silence a river that loud. One of the birdwatchers knelt down, dipping her hand into the current. The water rushed past her fingers, cold and fast, yet even up close, her ears detected no splash, no churn, no movement. The river was behaving normally, except for the missing voice. News spread quickly. Within minutes, others gathered. Joggers, students from the nearby college, a pair of fishermen who insisted it must be some kind of prank. But the silence was real, stretching across an entire mile of river. People whispered without meaning to, as if afraid the quiet might shatter. And then things grew stranger. A dull pressure began to build, like the feeling before a storm breaks, or the moment in an old church when someone closes a heavy door. Birds along the riverbanks fell still. Even the wind seemed to hesitate. The world felt paused, caught between breaths. Some later described the sensation as being watched. Others said it felt like the earth itself had leaned in to listen. 20 minutes passed. Just as suddenly as it had stopped, the river found its voice again. It didn't return gently either. It came back in an explosive rush, roaring, foaming, crashing against rocks with twice its normal strength. The ground vibrated. People stumbled backward. A fisherman dropped his tackle box into the mud. And then, just as quickly, everything settled into its familiar rhythm, as if nothing unusual had happened. Experts analyzed recordings from the area. They found no evidence of seismic activity, no unusual temperature shifts, no man-made interference. The silence remained unexplained. But those who were there still talk about it. The moment the world hushed, the moment nature held its breath, and the unsettling feeling that the river was listening to something we could not hear. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to help the channel grow.